with my very good friend, Shannon Grove. I know we want to be done by 12:30, so I'm going to let you take all the time because they're going to let me speak another time, so you take as much time as you need.
But I just go over
Whatever you want to do, but I'm just saying whatever you want to do.
Well, thank you for the invitation to be here. I really appreciate it. I don't want to follow those kids, so now I felt confident when I walked in the room, and now I'm going, oh my God, what am I doing? What an inspiration. I mean, really, seriously, an inspiration for you guys to get up and do what you're doing. You really touched my heart, and the reason why you touched my heart is because, I was raised by a single mom, and there wasn't any money to go to college, so I never went to college. I joined the military. I served overseas at Headquarters Company 54 in Frankfurt, Germany. And I came back. I worked really hard for a couple of different staffing agencies, and one day God blessed me with my own business. My brother came in and says, I got $5,000, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, and kind of backed up. But I did it because I'm a risk taker. And 20 years later being in business, I operate in 2 different states, and I have almost 3,000 employees. And what I say that to you only because it only takes one person to make a difference. And when I think about the things that God has structured in my life to place me in this position that I'm in today, I look back on my military service, I look back on starting the business, the things I struggled with, the college education I didn't have, to compete with people that did have that college education. You guys, if God can use me to do what I'm doing, I just can't wait to see what He's going to do with you. So, I'm a business owner, and I've served in the military. I just shared that, and I kind of followed politics a little bit. I vote. I'm probably going to get a lot of boos. When I was out of country in Zimbabwe at an orphanage that I love and care for in Harare, and if it was in June and I missed January, I didn't even know what what a provisional ballot was. The most I ever did was vote. Never really involved in politics whatsoever. I was one of those people that was asleep at the wheel when it came to what was happening in our government. Now, I attended church, I prayed for our country, I was on my knees before the Lord, I knew what I was praying for. You did those things, and I was running my business, and I'm a mom. I have 5 kids. I'm a mom, and I'm running my business. And I followed politics just a little bit. And the assembly member that had this position before I got elected announced that she was running for senator. So I kind of Googled to see, who was going to run, and I thought, oh dear Lord. So I picked up the phone and I said, you guys have got to have a candidate you're recruiting, right? And they said, well, what are you doing? And I said, I'm eating dinner at Mexicali. And they said, no, really, what are you doing? I said, eating dinner, really, at Mexicali. And it was kind of like that. And they kind of suggested that maybe I should think about this. And I said, oh no, God has a plan. I'm semi-retired. I turn the day-to-day operations over my business. I'm going to Harare. I love my Zimbabwe orphanage. I'm doing these other things. I got a youth group. We go on mission trips, foreign countries. That's what God's called me to do. And so I went home and I mentioned it to my husband. And I think my husband's first thought was, oh, Father God, take that out of her mind, But, we prayed about it and we fasted over it for 21 days. And at the end of that 21 days, we both sat down and we looked at each other, and I said, I'm going to run for the California State Assembly. Now, we announced February 25th. My opponent had been running for 18 months prior and won by 68%. Again, like the guys, I went to Sacramento, and I'm like, I told you my political history. I voted. That was it. And so I get to Sacramento, and I think, wow, what am I going to do? And instantly, Brian, Kindred Spirits, Brian, Tim, and we have a couple of others. And you should have seen the speaker's face when we prayed the first day on the floor of the assembly. I thought he's like, what are they doing back there? I think he was kind of dismayed. He's like waiting to do the gavel. We're praying just a prayer back there. But I ran into friends that not only are faith-based, but that believe like I believe as far as business, freedoms, the limited government. Get out of my way as a business owner so that I can create jobs and economic growth so that my employees can work and I can give them, benefits that I want to provide them. And I thought, you know, as a business owner, I could go up as somebody who signed the front of a paycheck for almost 20 years, I could say, look, when you pass that, it creates this regulatory structure which causes me to have to lay people off or reduce production. And I thought, you know, they would listen. It took me a couple of days and I thought, wow, they're not getting it. And then it took me a couple of more days to realize that they just don't care. They don't care. They have a union agenda, an environmental agenda, a creature worshiper agenda, and they have a gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual agenda. That is it. Those are the loudest screaming voices in Sacramento. Okay? When Tom Ammiano stands up and he says, close your eyes and imagine this, I want to throw up. I'm serious. It just makes me so nervous. So there's some things that have happened. You know, my first 8 months as a legislator, I'm going to go over some bad bills I know Tim did. The first thing I got in trouble for was a sign on my door. It's on the video. Some of you guys have talked to you about it. Tim alluded to my mic being shut down over the union extortion bill that came through on SB 790. You know, Brian alluded to, you know, there's rules of the House, permission to speak, granted, permission to show a prop, granted, you know, without objection, permission to ask a question, granted. It's just a courtesy of the House that you have to learn to participate in the discussion. So, permission to use a prop, and I'm reaching for my prop because in the whole history of the building it's never been denied, right? So I'm reaching for my prop and they go denied, and I go denied. It was kind of like, what just happened here? And everybody around me was like, denied, it's never been denied. And I'm like, pardon me? And I realized, oh my God, the cameras are on me. Okay, I don't need a prop, so we'll just describe what my prop is. And then when I tried to describe what my prop was, which was the proof of the union extortion from private business to raise money that's unreported and unrestricted by the FPPC, which is the place that governs all political practices or donations, it was proof. I had tax returns and copies of project labor agreements that demanded the payment of $90,000 and $350,000 and $860,000 from private business to a labor management trust fund corporation that is ran and owned and signed for tax returns at the same office as the California Builders Trades Council President's office. Okay, I have proof, so I'm ready to fight, and it was denied. Then when I tried to explain what I had without the proof, they shut my mic off. There was this big, long, drawn-out thing. We got up and fight. You know, there's only 27 of us. We lose, but, you know, that's kind of been the case history since I've been up there for 8 months. And I can tell you that when I swore an oath to protect my country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, when I served in the military, and I took that same oath when I took the oath of office, I never realized that it would be your fellow Californians that you would have to protect our country from. So it took me about, like I said, a few days to realize that we're not good. It's not good. We got to change the dynamic of the building. I'm not a good loser. You know, I really am. I'm not a good failure, and I'm not a good loser. So I thought, what do? You can't get the votes. Votes kind of go like this. Gay, lesbian education for all your children, mandated to teach in schools. 52 yeses, 27 noes, measure passes. Illegal immigrants get college tuition. 52 yeses, 27 noes, measure passes. You know, whatever it is. A budget that's not balanced, that is just bogusly, you know, oh, by the way, we need another $4 billion. Let's anticipate revenue. You know, 52 yeses, 27 noes, measure passes. You know what I mean? So it's just things like that. So, bed sheets. California hotels need fitted bed sheets instead of flat bed sheets. Estimated to cost the hotel industry in California millions upon millions of dollars. You know, what do you get? Measure passes. You just want to choke, you know, when you hear this stuff. So these are some of the bills. Pardon me?
About the babysitters.
Oh, babysitters. Union, excuse me, sir, you are out of order. You are out of order. Those are early childhood development coordinators. I mean, give me a break. They said babysitter was a term in the past. All that is a revenue source for unions. All this extortion thing that I explained with the bottom part of SB 90, which in otherwise was a good bill. Talked about power plant co-ops. You know, is a good bill. And then there's this bizarre language at the end of it, and I'm like, what's this? So, just to go over some of those bills, you got SB 48 Leno, which you know we tried to do a repeal on it, and we failed. We got 497,000 signatures, and we needed 505. Homosexuality and sexual identity. Bottom line, I tell you how it is. The way people have sex is going to be taught in our children's schools. That's it. They're trying to go back and say Abraham Lincoln was a homosexual. How is Abraham Lincoln going to defend that? You know what I mean? And bottom line, our schools are failing. Our schools are failing in California. We do women's studies, Latino studies, black studies, and now gay studies. What about reading, writing, arithmetic, chemistry, political science? Tim talked about the DREAM Act, AB 130 and 131. He is on it. And we are doing everything we can to help support him gather those signatures. And we are doing everywhere I go, we carry those signatures, those petitions, and we get everybody to sign them. Steinberg, that was another bill, sorry. Oh, Fiona Ma. She got really mad at me one day. I don't get, there's Sacramento truth, and then there's just truth. Truth. So we're debating the DREAM Act, right? And I can't let things go. And I know Brian's like, sometimes he goes, Brian, we jump out on a limb for each other, and sometimes I think, Brian, I don't want to go on that limb with you, but I'm not going to let you do it by yourself. And I think he feels the same way about me and Tim sometimes. So Fiona Mott, who is the Speaker Pro Tem, she's the person who's second in charge of the building. She voted to defund the Williamson Act. And I come from a large family and ranching community, so I support the Williamson Act. So, to defund, I don't want development. We have to have a domestic supply of food, and we've got to be able to have ranchers and California producers that produce that domestic supply of food. I'll tell you about a hearing in just a few minutes. Anyway, so she comes up and she says she votes to defund the Williamson Act, and then that was on a Thursday. Then the following Monday, she's in front of all these cattlemen, because y'all have your special day, and you go up and you lobby everybody in the building, and she stands up and she's like, I have a caliber on heart, and I support the Williamson Act. And I'm like, she just lied. It wasn't a lie, she didn't think so. But anyway, so I went back to my office and I printed this sign. My office door is famous for signs, that's why they took the light out in front of my hallway. I printed this sign and it says, Cattleman, Fiona Maughan defunded the Williamson Act, and I stapled her vote to my door. And oh my gosh, they walk by, I hate you! And we're like, ooh. Anyways, people come into my office. The Republican leader comes in, and I said, I'm not taking it down. She goes, no, can I at least sit here and talk to you like I'm yelling at you? I said, absolutely. So she comes in, returns a few emails, I do some few things, she walks out, and she's like, Miss Grove, I expect you to take action. And I said, okay. Anyway, so she leaves. So they send somebody else in, and they're like, Miss Grove, we think you should, the speaker doesn't like that sign. And I'm like, okay. Miss Grove, the speaker doesn't like that sign. Are you aware the speaker doesn't like that sign? And I'm like, yeah, okay, okay. Okay, as long as you know the speaker doesn't like the sign. I'm like, okay. Anyways, this goes on for a period of time. Brian comes into my office, and this is like a real narrow hallway, and there's light from the inside, and then this kind of shadow comes over. We both look up, it's the speaker. He's never been in my office. He says, Miss Grove, is everything okay today? I said, absolutely, sir. I was like, okay. And he proceeded to tell me that we should take the sign down, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, so then I get a call from my congressman, who is Congressman Kevin McCarthy. He's the highest ranking congressional member in the state of California, and he is the third highest ranking member in the nation. So he goes, what are you doing? I said, nothing. He says, are you sure? I said, yes, sir. And he said, anything going on? I said, not that I know of. He goes, are you okay? I said, yes, sir. And he goes, so I hear you got a sign on your door. I go, oh, yeah, that. So they called Washington, D.C. over this sign. They are so twisted up over the sign on my door that they did not damage California for those 2 days that my sign was on.